News at this hour in the first presidential primary of 2016. This is a live picture from Nashua, New Hampshire. Some candidates tonight are looking for their first win, others a last chance. We asked Republican voters leaving the polls what they are looking for. Someone who shares their values came in first, followed closely by someone who could bring about change, and then someone who tells it like it is. We have a team of correspondents covering the primary. First, we'll go to Major Garrett with the Republicans. Major?
Scott, top Republicans here believe Donald Trump will win tonight. After that, they don't have a clue. As the evening goes on, the battle for a coveted second-place finish could involve 4, possibly 5 candidates.
How we doing over here?
Donald Trump, leading the polls here by a wide margin, sought last-minute votes outside a Manchester elementary school. But the Trump circus blocked voter access and had to move.
No one can get through to vote, but thanks to Mr. Trump. Let's move it along.
Trump was under fire for repeating a profane insult from the audience at his campaign rally last night.
She said he's a...
It was directed at Iowa winner Ted Cruz for sidestepping a question on waterboarding.
Somebody else said it, I didn't say it, and that was a repeat, but a woman said it in the audience.
Well, he's chosen to go down the road of insults. He can do that.
As voters lined up across New Hampshire, Trump's nervous Republican challengers trafficked in vague optimism.
I don't create the expectations, but I feel good about where we are.
Hopeful today?
Of course. It's election day. You're always hopeful on election day.
Do I seem uptight? Do I seem nervous?
Jeb Bush is looking for a strong finish here to revive his campaign.
What about this notion that it's do or die here in New Hampshire?
No. It's not do or die. We have a real organization in South Carolina, the best organization in Nevada, a nationwide campaign.
Marco Rubio, after a widely criticized debate performance this weekend, pushed through reporters to meet prospective voters.
Do you feel there's a test you have to cross over tonight after
Well, we just want to... Oh, no. Look, that's a media thing. The voters are excited about this campaign. You see the turnout today is going to be historic, so we feel really good about it.
A Trump victory would stabilize his campaign after Iowa and set up a heavyweight battle for conservative loyalty with Cruz in South Carolina. As for alternatives to both, the order of finish tonight after Trump could strengthen some candidate campaigns, Scott, and deal a death blow to others.
Major, thanks. Well, there's no chance of a death blow on the Democratic side, but Bernie Sanders did have a big lead over Hillary Clinton in the pre-primary polls. When we asked Democratic voters today, the most important quality, honest and trustworthy, was number 1. Nancy Cordes is covering the race for us. Nancy?
Scott, Hillary Clinton and her husband launched a series of attacks this week aimed at cutting into the Sanders advantage on that honesty question. It's a risky strategy that can cut both ways, and there's no sign yet that it paid off.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great.
Sanders paid a visit to a polling place in Concord today and was mobbed by supporters anticipating a win.
And it looks like there is going to be a large voter turnout.
Clinton made 4 stops, starting at dawn in Manchester. Sounding upbeat, but realistic. How are you feeling about a comeback, Secretary?
You know what? I'm just here to thank all of the people who've worked so hard for me. I've got a lot of longtime friends who have been working day and night for me.
The Clinton camp has tried to write off the Sanders lead as nothing more than loving thy neighbor. After all, his home state of Vermont is known here as New Hampshire upside down.
You know, I'm so happy to be out here.
But Clinton was leading here until the fall, when Sanders caught on, especially with young voters like Dan Boucher.
He's the only one who seriously talks about the income gap and wealth equality, so it was an easy one for me.
Becoming a major contender does pose new challenges.
If you guys want to walk, we're going to walk a little bit.
A senator who was toting his own laundry just a few weeks ago is now flanked by Secret Service.
Stay aside, guys.
Which, as he learned today, makes an impromptu stroll around the block a lot more complicated.
The next couple of contests will be anything but a walk for Sanders. South Carolina has a large African-American population. Nevada has lots of Hispanics. And right now, Scott, Clinton does better with both groups.
And we'll start getting real vote totals after 8 o'clock Eastern. Nancy, thanks so much. For some insight into this, we turn, of course, to John Dickerson, our CBS News political director and the anchor of Face the Nation. John, what are you seeing in the Republican race?
Well, on the Republican side, Scott, it looks like Donald Trump's party. If voters were asked, do you support a ban on Muslims coming into the United States? 68% said yes. That's a position Donald Trump holds alone. There's not good news necessarily in the numbers for Marco Rubio. In New Hampshire, they don't value electability as much as they did in Iowa. In Iowa, they did, and Rubio did well with voters who liked that quality. Fewer do in New Hampshire. Also, 2/3 of the voters said that the debates were very important in their vote, and Marco Rubio didn't do so well in the last debate. That opens the door for a candidate like John Kasich or Jeb Bush. Rubio came into New Hampshire hoping to be the alternative to Trump and Cruz. Now there may be some others joining him.
And what about the Democrats?
On the Democratic side, 77% said they made up their mind before the last few days. That's good news for Bernie Sanders because he's been ahead in polls for a very long time. Also, as you mentioned, that honest and trustworthy number, very high in New Hampshire. That's good for Sanders. Also, those who were asked, does electability matter as much? Far fewer in New Hampshire thought it did than in Iowa. That's good for Sanders, too.
John Dickerson in New Hampshire for us. John, thank you. And now joining us for his 11th New Hampshire primary, the most experienced political reporter in television, Bob Schieffer. Bob?
Thank you, Scott. You know, after hearing those numbers that 82% of the Republicans favor a ban on Muslims, it's hard to see how Donald Trump does not win this thing tonight. The big question now, as John was pointing out, who finishes second? And what makes New Hampshire so hard to handicap is this is the last place where the voters play a role. After this, it all moves to television, but the voters have a role and they take it very seriously. That's why you see like 40% saying they didn't make up their mind until the very last minute. It's how those last-minute voters break will determine who gets the ticket after finishing second, third, and fourth out of New Hampshire. On that question about Hillary Clinton, when voters, Democrats were asked what quality they liked most, 30-something% said that was the most important thing, honesty and integrity. That same question, when it was asked to Iowa voters, Bernie Sanders won by 8-1. This could be a long night for Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much, Bob. We'll be updating you with the results from New Hampshire during prime time tonight right here on CBS.